download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader in the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Well, alright. Yeah. You know, ever since I turned pro in 1989, when I signed the dotted line, it was strange. Those things changed for the better and for the worse. So I called my mama and she said, baby,
Must be the money.
yeah.
Must be the money.
It's got to be, cause I got people who wanna be my
Must be
friends.
the
People I
money.
never knew. People I never thought about associating
Must
with.
be the
I don't know
money.
what it is. Talk to me. Check it out. Diamond relax with gators on my feet. I got some pepper every day.
Listen, Dion had a thing. Dion knew what he was doing when he put this out. Dion knew that he was him. You want an example of somebody being him? That is him, complete with theme music. That's it. That's it right there. And his little dance, his chains, you know, that was a time. That was a time. You are checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Thank you for rocking with us. We are in hour 3 on day 3. 333, you know, the numbers. I don't know what significance that has, but I'm just going to shout it out, you know. Maybe it's a trinity. Maybe it's I don't know. I just think that it's significant because why not? So, as I was saying earlier, the NBA draft took place tonight, and there is, about 50 young men who are now embarking on a new adventure that involves exposure, money, all of these things. And we see it time and time again. We see them getting caught up by the lifestyle. I say the biggest thing that athletes have to navigate is the lifestyle, because you can improve your practice habits. Obviously, you can improve your game. Those things are manageable. But that off the court thing, boy, that is tricky. So when you think about it, right, you think about Michael Jordan. And as famous as Jordan was, as much as he put it down, the things that he did, he never had to worry about in his active playing career somebody rolling up to his face while he was at the craps table in Vegas, taking a video of his interaction of him with his cigar, a drink, and hitting those tables. You know what I'm saying? So I feel as though we sometimes forget that the modern day athlete is under an intense amount of scrutiny, more so than we could have ever imagined. And even though it seems like we should be prepared, we talk about this stuff all the time, they're really not. How can you prepare for that? You can't, because you can be prepared for the work that comes into play. You can say that you are prepared for the access, shall we say, to different types of things that you are. But until it's in your face, you never know how you are going to react. So just kind of setting the stage, we've seen a change as far as professional sports over the last 20 to 30 years. It kind of coincides with the rise to hip-hop, coincidentally, and the rise of cable TV. And there's one more component on top of that, the internet. All of these things sort of started coming together and coming up at the same time, late 80s, early 90s, and it changed the way that we operate. It changed the way the business of sports operated. And what it's done is, in addition to adding more financial opportunities for the players and those businesses, it's also opened a door and a way for more scandals to be introduced. Think about it. You think about back in the day, like, I'm going to go way back for you, and this is going to be for my Gen Xers out there. Do you remember that there was a sex tape with Leon Isaac Kennedy and his wife Jane Kennedy? Spoiler alert, I love Jane Kennedy. She was a football analyst on CBS. She was amazing. I think she was Miss Ohio, Miss Cleveland, something like that. Beautiful sports reporter, actress, just dynamic. And I had never heard of a sex tape before. I was a little kid, and this is before the internet. There were rumors swirling around. People's uncles and aunties had secret copies that they would record for each other and pass around. Not really, well, I heard what was on it, but we don't have to talk about that. Don't know if it's true, never seen it. So, but it was the first time that we had heard of something like that. And it wasn't something that people could readily get their hands on. It was just kind of a rumor, and it spread like wildfire. Today, we know your ex from 2 years ago could get angry, could have snapped a picture of you when you were taking a nap, indisposed, and you end up on the internet and dealing with those type of things. We only have to look at Mariah Mills and her online harassment of Zion Williamson over the past, what was it, week and a half, 2 weeks, to give you an example of what's possible. So the thing with Mariah is what? She had a platform, right? So what I would say is step one to those young athletes drafted today, the NFL players that were drafted in early May, is that I know it's hard, and I know it's hard to think about this, but when you are selecting from your flavors, your menu, your options that you have out there, try to make sure that the young lady, even if it's just a good time for whatever amount of time, has something to lose. Because if she doesn't have something to lose, what is stopping her from ruining your life? You know, when you deal with people that have goals, they have something to get up for the next day, when they have something to look forward to, when they have something that they want to protect and to see grow, maybe they're less likely to mess with your stuff. So that's step one. That's something to think about. Because if you look back at the 90s, that ushered in the Allen Iverson era, right? And AI changed the way players dressed. He changed the culture of the NBA. I think, and this might be a little controversial, but I'm going to say it, not really, but just an opinion. Outside of Michael Jordan, and I'm talking about culturally, there's a case for LeBron now, but I think AI is the most significant player as far as NBA culture that we have seen in the past 40 years. And yes, I'm including in that my personal faves, Magic. We know what he and Bird did for the league, but I am talking about the NBA culture and permeating. He touched fashion. Shaq was the first to have a rap album. Shaq is also the first athlete to go platinum twice. So Shaq set the stage, but people thought Shaq was just having fun. You know, obviously his persona is lighter, more fun, and just kind of in the moment, whereas AI, he was the real deal. We know the things that he went through growing up. His rap persona, Jules, was going to be hardcore. I don't know if you guys have ever found those underground tapes of him spitting. It wasn't that great, but it was AI, and he looked good. I remember he was on the cover of that Slam magazine. That was probably about 99, 2000, with the afro blown out and the chains, the old school Philly jersey, what? And then the other one, I think it was a Sports Illustrated cover where he had the roses. Listen, I don't know who was responsible for those two shoots, but you did your thing. You did your thing for the ladies. You did your thing for the men, because the thing that was so interesting about that is not only was he attractive and appealing to women, he still was the type of guy that you're like, that's my homie. That's my guy. I rock with him. You know, it wasn't too much polarizing as far as, at least for the youthful generation, what you thought about AI. Now, generationally, that's a whole other conversation. But as far as culturally, I think AI is one of the most, if not the most important player of the last 30 years. And again, you look at someone like him and what he had to go through, the scrutiny that he faced for every move that he made. And then you turn around and you see someone like Dame Lillard. Hey, Dame, it's time for you to leave Portland. And I know you know, but you really should have made that decision a couple years ago. I don't fault you for it. We like loyalty, but you're going to have a harder time finding a fit right now, because a lot of pieces on the board have moved around. And, of course, you're going to bring value to wherever you end up. But where will you end up? Anyway, that's aside. But I just really have to talk about the importance of AI as a reminder. I know that culturally we talk about it a lot, but if you haven't gotten to a story, you really need to get into the story. People often forget that he was locked up in jail for a time period during his senior year, his road to Georgetown University. We're going to be talking about, side note, plug for a future show coming in the coming weeks. We're going to have a Georgetown Hall of Fame player that is going to come in and talk with us about the era before Iverson. He actually played with Patrick Ewing on that championship team. So he's going to come in and talk to us. His name is Gene Smith. We'll get into that in the upcoming weeks. That's just a side teasing that. But like I said, VIPs, we have the exclusive for you. I have so many things planned for you guys. But back to AI. You know, the thing that we think about with athletes is that they are like our modern day fables. We use them as examples of greatness. We use them as an example of overcoming adversity. And like those very same Greek heroes in those stories, we see their tragedies and triumphs play out in real time now. The fourth wall has been broken. You know, the line between fans and athletes, well, really fans and celebrities, is forever blown out of the water, and we're seeing the repercussions from that. And we can debate at another time whether that's good or bad, whether the hero worship has gone too far, and things of that nature. But what we do know is that fans currently have unprecedented access like never before. And with that access on both parts, but especially for the athletes, it's a different type of adulation that comes with that, because they are touchable in some ways 24/7. People are constantly sending them DMs, trying to be in their mix, you know, sneaking selfies when they're out. Totally different world than when Jordan was walking around. I know in theory Jordan could never go anyplace incognito, but realistically he could. Nowadays it's really hard for players to pull that off. So my point in bringing up how athletes are similar to these Greek gods and the fables is that there is always a lesson that can be gleaned from their life experiences, and that is kind of how we tee them up. That is how we set them up. One thing that I think is a comparison to a lot of athletes these days is the story of Narcissus. You know, Narcissus was a hunter. He drowned in a puddle because he was so enamored by his own reflection. He got caught up. And that could really be a metaphor for any number of athletes these days. John Morant, we see that, you know, just caught up in, I'm untouchable, my own image. I'm doing me. I'm out here, I'm doing me, and there's nothing that you can really do about it. And to a degree, they're right. You are supposed to do you and enjoy it to the fullest, especially at this time period in your life. But you have to be smart, because if you mess up the money, what was it all for, right? So with this light being shined on athletes, more so brighter than ever, good, bad, indifferent, outlandish, we do know one thing that happens when you shine bright light. Things tend to look distorted. They tend to look funny, right? And every athlete might not think that they have the star power of LeBron James or the reach of a Tom Brady, but they do believe that they are a brand, and that starts early. You know, guys are trademarking their names before they hit high school. They're already having a full brand team, especially as we've entered the NIL era, before they even submit their name for the draft. So with all of that in play, it kind of sets up an unrealistic expectation. So my next rule is make sure you have someone on your team that will keep it real with you. Not just the friend that you've known the longest, because they might not be the person that holds it down for you. They might be the one that's just along for the ride. So make sure you have that keep it real friend. And if you do want to help your friends, make sure you have a clear idea of how you can help them outside of just financially giving them money. You know, if you see something they're good at, try and push them towards that. If you need help with something and they can be that fill, make them have a responsibility when they're around you, because that way they are more inclined to make sure that you stay on point, everybody stays on point, because their livelihood is at stake too. I think that that is an important tip. But we're going to go to the chat and see what you guys are saying in there, because I know that it is always lit in our chat. Terry says, Poison is your favorite group? No, I think he's talking about BBD. my favorite song. Tony Yayo has never heard of Jane Kennedy. You need to Google Jane Kennedy, and you will get all that you need. Her husband, Leon Isaac Kennedy, I believe, was he an amateur boxer? I know he was an actor. I think at one point in time he boxed. Like I said, Jane was on CBS football coverage. She was the first black woman to do it. She's beautiful. She actually looks similar. They favor Claudia Jordan. If you know who she is a model, actress, host, etc. They kind of favor, but Jane is stunning. And that sex tape, it took her down. It took her through a lot of things. As I said, that wasn't something that was common at the time. Now it seems like, that's part of the marketing plan. It's there, it's around, but that's neither here nor there. Let's see, what else is going on in the chat? D Black wants to know the name of the song. What song? Are you talking about Must Be the Money by Deion Sanders? You got to know that song. If you don't, that is something else. I'm going to give you homework. When we come back, I want you to have looked up who Jane Kennedy is, and I want you to find the best picture of her you can and send it to me, because I want to see what your taste is like. And then you need to look up the video for Must Be the Money. Like, the song is the song, and the song represents something, but you need to see it. You need to see it and embrace 1989 in all of its glory and splendor to understand how far we've come. We've come so far that, we got people wearing grills giving the sign on the red carpet. Side note, I think I sort of mentioned this, but I'm going to swing back to it. Why were they showing the families at the start of the draft? I mean, it's important. You want to see who it is there and that they have support, but it seems kind of weird. I don't even know where these people are going yet. I may not be familiar with them. Why am I just clapping and having their families stand up? It's not a show. It's a draft. That's just a personal aside. So make sure that you are, once again, following us on all of our socials. I see a little Twitter chatter. I appreciate it. Shout me out. Lift your girl up. Tell me how you're liking the show so far. Phone lines, hit us up, 800-920-1580. I can't believe my VIPs are playing shy tonight. I thought that we started a connection. I thought we started something last night. We had some in-depth conversation, and I'd like to have that again. So if you're not busy, I understand if you are. You might be getting ready for bed, slowing it down. Reality show auditions. Jerry, what are you talking about? What about reality show auditions? Is that what's happening in the chat? I must be missing something really exciting. I don't know. You guys have your own little connections there, and I appreciate that. I love that there's a community that is building there. I hope it continues because we love to see it. Anyway, back to my rules of engagement for the fans. Oh, we have a phone call? Oh, okay. Okay, got you. All right, well, when we come forward, we'll get into more of my rules of engagement because I do have more to add because why not? 1580, KBLA 1580, that's our socials, 800-920-1580. I want to see those phones light up when we get back. KBLA Talk 1580, you are checking about RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
The pandemic may be over, but many Angelinos could be at risk of losing the place they call home. It's important to know your rights as a residential renter in the city of LA. Did you know eviction protection still exists for unpaid COVID-19 rental debt that was due before March 31st, 2023? And that you have 5 days to respond to an eviction notice, also known as an unlawful detainer. Learn more about your rental rights at housing.lacity.org. Be informed, be protected, be at home. What's up, LA? Reparations United and Black Pact got something real special going down in historic Leimert Park. Join us on July 1st, 2023. This event is sponsored by Reparations United and the Black Pact. We are fighting for justice and empowering our community. Together, we're making moves. We got an insane lineup for y'all. Soulful Regina Bell, King of LA, The Game, Smooth Eric Benet, and none other than the one and only Rotimi, and the powerful sounds of blackness. We also got some special guests in the house too, y'all. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, State Senator Stephen Bradford, and more. They bringing their passion and leadership to the stage. Mark your calendars, fam. July 1st, 2023, Leimert Park. Let's come together, support each other, and make a difference. Peace, love, and reparations benefit concert and unity rally. Be there or be left out. Produced for you by Tara Perry of Black Pact and Cam Howard of Reparations United.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family was founded to help address domestic violence and sexual assault in the Asian and the Pacific Islander communities. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family's mission is to build healthy and safe communities by addressing the root causes and consequences of family violence and violence against women. They are committed to meeting the specific cultural and language needs of the Asian and Pacific Islander women and their families. CPAF's vision is of an Asian and Pacific Islander community that embraces healthy relationships and works in partnership with other communities to eradicate all forms of violence. To access services, volunteer, or for more info, visit nurturingchange.org. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe everyone deserves to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe. You are checking out RSVP with me. We are going to continue talking about the rules of engagement for new professional athletes. There's some heat in the chat. Like I said, you guys are playing Shy Brother tonight, whatever. We are going to continue to encourage you to call in and not just leave your comments on YouTube. But I appreciate you being there and showing up and holding it down. Pretty Brown Mimi says, Jane was and still is gorgeous. Y'all are keeping me with these comments. Seriously, she is beautiful and an intelligent woman and an icon. Mimi, I agree wholeheartedly. She is someone that I looked up to growing up. I appreciated her voice, her regalness, her beauty, and the fact that she could hang with the men. You know? She was there putting it down. Andy, what you got to say?
Man, I shouldn't have Googled it.
You didn't know what Jane Kennedy looked like?
I mean, I heard about her. Her name has been mentioned a couple of times here at the station or whatnot. But just when you mentioned to Google it, you know the first thing that popped up?
Sex tape.
Yeah.
Yeah. it like, seriously, it was, it's hard to imagine now because we, get bombarded with things about sex tapes so often. We see Kim Kardashian is a billionaire or close to it. Very, very rich. We'll leave it at that. We don't know the exact dollar amount. And we know how her career started off. So, it was a very different time. Her career took a hit because of it. And I think she wrote about it or discussed it in some interviews, what it did to her mental health, as you can imagine. Jerry said that she was so fine and it was so sad the way that it all went down. I agree. I'm glad that we're in a different era, though. I'm glad that, some shame should be around a little bit, because sometimes y'all wilding out here. But I am glad that we're at an era where women are allowed to explore all aspects of themselves, and it's not frowned upon in the ways that it was before. We have a lot more autonomy as far as our sexuality, how we step forward, and we appreciate that 100%. Anyway, let's get back to talking about these athletes. So, in a perfect world, a successful athlete and his brand will have a grasp on four main areas. So, the first area is the most obvious one, the game. This is about talent. This is about drive. He's reached the professional level. Now, what will he do to stay here? Of course, there's always the added pressure of a newer, younger version of himself in the mirror because every year there are only, 452 NBA players, and every year we gain a new 50. So for those 50 to come in, how many have to go out? You know, and a lot of times the choice is not yours, even if it used to be. So you have to stay on top of your game, stay on top of your nutrition, make sure that you get that in order. And you actually have to start doing that earlier now, because there are kids that are in high school, junior high, with professional trainers, dietitians. They are getting to the chicken. They are trying to make sure that when they reach this level, or as close as they can get, they're impeccable, that there's no mistakes, no leaks, no holding. So that is the first thing. You have to take yourself seriously. You have to make sure that you are in tune with your body and your habits, and you have to get on that early. And that is probably it's difficult, but one of the easier ones to get in play, because you'll have teammates. Hopefully you'll have a vet that is supportive and an environment that encourages that, and something that you've already put into yourself. So the second area that you have to master, and for most, this is the one that gets you caught up, that would be the lifestyle. It's obviously the most difficult to navigate for some. You know, I like to say women, weed, and weather get these men caught up every single time. We see it all the time. Again, case in point, Mariah Mills, and Zion. I don't know if you guys saw, there was a video of Zion. I think it might have been for earlier in the season, and it was him and Brandon Ingram. And you know, they do those preseason interviews and such. And so they were talking, and they were asking them what their favorite cities were. And Zion was like going in about, was it Dallas or Houston? I think it was Dallas. And he had this huge, huge smile on his face. And Brandon was just looking at him like, Turns out that's where homegirl lived. So everybody knew about your boy's illicit activities, and that's usually how it is. But what you want is someone on your team that's going to pull you to the side, a teammate, a vet. That's one of the problems with the way that the NBA teams are constructed currently. There's no vets. So there's not a lot of locker room leadership. And so I know, you know, a lot of fans will be like, that guy's a bum. Why is he still on the team? What is he contributing? But a lot of time, those are the voices in the locker room that's keeping it together. They're the bridge between the coach, the coaching staff, and the teammates. The younger ones especially, they're the ones that can talk to the players and have actually been where they've been and kind of keep them aligned. They won't always listen, but at least there's someone there. And I think that if you look at teams, like if you look at, for example, the Memphis Grizzlies, and we saw them kind of implode this season, there wasn't a lot of veteran leadership there. I mean, Steven Adams, but obviously there seemed to be some type of rift where Steven wasn't necessarily respected by the team. Andy's putting on the headphones. Come on.
I just think Ja Morant just doesn't have respect.
Okay.
Maybe that's a little bit controversial. He just comes off just too cocky, to where he doesn't give a Steven Adams respect. That's why I like Marcus Smart going over there.
Okay. I think I agree with you. I think that Marcus is a good move for them. I think that Marcus is someone that maybe that they can relate to and kind of come together and get in line. Speaking of, when you think about Ja, and we're going to talk about the rest of this when we come forward, there is a parent that was showcased today in the draft that I have questions about. I have questions about, is he a LeVar? Is he a T. Morant, Ja's dad? We're going to talk about it when we come forward. We are also going to finish out with my rules of engagement. You are listening to KBLA Talk 1580 with Jill Munroe on RSVP.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
More when we come forward.
I'm Julius White. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The father and the aunt of New York Congressman George Santos have been revealed as the ones who secured his $500,000 bail. Santos was arrested in May on charges of wire fraud, money laundering, and theft of public funds. Well, the state of Maryland is taking the steps to help students address learning losses brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. The State Department of Education announced it's joining the National Partnership for Student Success following President Biden's call for more tutors to support students in their academic recovery. And a high school volleyball player from Tennessee who lost her legs after a car hit her in downtown St. Louis, Missouri, has filed a lawsuit against the city. The crash highlighted what was seen as negligence by the city's former chief prosecutor, or not keeping the driver of a stolen car in jail. I'm Julius White on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Calling all night owls, Buffalo Wild Wings is open late. Fill up on some tasty apps with an ice cold tall beer starting at $4. Late night food and drinks start at $4 from 10 till close at B-Dubs. Limited time at participating locations. Offers, days, and times may vary. Drink responsibly. Void where prohibited. Tax and fees extra.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that's between 26 and 49 employees, please listen. Lendistry is proud to announce a new program whereby small businesses and nonprofits may qualify for reimbursement of COVID sick leave expenses incurred in 2021 or 2022. This program is administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. Eligibility criteria apply and funding is limited. For more information, visit COVIDPaidSick.com. If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that has between 26 and 49 employees, please listen. Lendistry is proud to announce a new program whereby small businesses and nonprofits may qualify for reimbursement of COVID sick leave expenses incurred in 2021 or 2022. This program is administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. For more information, visit COVIDPaidSick.com.
Are you looking to steer your career in a new direction? Driving for Culver City Bus can be your ticket to a long-lasting career with excellent benefits and paid training. Culver City Bus is looking for customer service and safety-minded bus operators to join the growing team. Culver City Bus offers on-the-job training starting at $19.10 per hour, uniform allowance, and health benefits. Culver City Bus is a great employer. Let Culver City Bus connect you with an essential service job. If you enjoy driving, seek real opportunities for career advancement, and passionate about making a difference in the community, then you are invited to join the Culver City Bus team. Start your journey today by submitting an application at culvercity.org/jobs. For more info, visit culvercitybus.com or call live customer service operators at 310-253-6500.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
The rent is too damn high. KBLA joins you in calling for affordable housing. The LA Tenants Union is a diverse, tenant-led movement fighting for the human right to housing for all. The LA Tenants Union demands safe, affordable housing and union rent control. They organize against landlord harassment, mass evictions, and displacement, and mobilize for the repeal of the Ellis Act and Costa-Hawkins Act. The LA Tenants Union is on a mission to strengthen tenants' political power through education, advocacy, and direct action. To get help with your eviction or other landlord-tenant issues, take action for justice, or become a member, visit latenantsunion.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to K-Drip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like Sprinklers in the Rain and Leaky Faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on.
K-Drip.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Vibing as we get down to the last 30 minutes of RSVP with Jill Munroe. I hope you guys are continuing to rock with us out there. I see you lit in the chat. For those of you that are listening live, thank you. We appreciate you. For those that are checking us out on the app, we appreciate you as well. There's still time. Don't be shy, VIPs. You want to reserve your spot, right? Call in 800-920-1580. Talk to me, share your thoughts, or lock that number in, because when we come forward, and I don't mean tonight, I mean in general, in life, over the coming weeks of this show, I want to hear from you, because I know that you're opinionated. I know you have a lot to share, and you're just playing shy brother right now, and it's okay. I understand. I'm new. You guys are getting used to me. But slide on up and introduce yourself. Slide in my DMs at Stiletto Jill everywhere. Let me know what you think about the show. If there are topics that you want to talk about, hit me with that. Maybe. We'll see what happens. But, the communication is there. You have access. And that is why you are a VIP. Utilize it, okay? So, back to the topic at hand. I already reviewed the first couple of areas that athletes need to master. We talked about the game, the obvious one. We talked about lifestyle. The next one up is the business. Don't be delusional. Professional athletics is a for-profit business first and foremost. It wasn't created for the owners to lose money, and realistically, the players are the expendable pieces in all of this. Yes, even your top player can become a liability. So for the new guys coming in, as hot as you are, as in demand as you are, make sure you keep sight of the fact that this is a business, a for-profit business, and you are an asset in that business. It doesn't mean that you aren't valued. It doesn't mean that the ownership group may not really think of you as a family member, but at the same time, keep in mind that it is a business. And that is something that is important to mention, because I think that John Morant has lost sight of that in a way. Maybe not currently, but I think that for those that say, hey, what about his rights? What about his freedoms? He absolutely has those. He has the right to conduct himself in any way he sees fit. But let's stop not acting as if there are no consequences to actions. Let's stop acting as if a private entity doesn't have the right to set the rules. You have an option too. We all have choices, or they all have choices. Let me not personalize this. But everyone has a choice in it. You may not like all the choices that are available to you, but you do have a choice, and you should take advantage of it. And like I said, once again, understanding the business that you are in and what aspects you have leverage and how to work those pieces is key. And so I hope that there is someone in those young guys' corner that is relaying that info to them. And so the last area is not something that these guys have to worry about right now. It's down the road, but you do want to keep it in the back of your mind. The post game, the end of the road, those final seconds on the clock. A player better have an extra strategy and take heed of the red flags that it might be coming down to the wire. Things are changing, moving around him. He doesn't want to end up another example of wasted opportunity, wasted potential. So this is the reality of pro athletics, right? The window for an average pro athlete's career is small. We're talking the average NFL career is 3.5 years. The earnings are about $6.1 million. Obviously, that is a lot of money to regular people, but we aren't talking about a business that is dealing with regular things. We talked about last night briefly, Draymond Green turning down his $27 million option. You know, players do that. So $6 million after you get beat up, how long is that going to last you? Is $6 million going to really last you a lifetime if you go into the league at 20 and you're out by 23? Not that we want that for anybody, or even 25. How long do you think that $6 million is going to carry you? Not long. For the NBA, there are 400, before I go to that, the NBA average player's career is 4.8 years. So a little longer than the NFL. The money, the average career earnings for an NBA player, a little higher than an NFL player. Sorry, let me slow down because I'm getting them all jumbled up. So let's just say we talked about for-profit relationships last night, you know, people that are seeking out those things. If you are targeting based on income, you need to go NBA, MLB, MLS maybe. As far as money, right? That's what you're looking for. So the average NBA player's career is 4.8 years. They'll earn about $24.7 million. So NFL, 3.5 years, $6.1 million average. NBA, 4.8 years, $24.7 million. Now, granted, that once again gets you a little further, but will it last you for the next 30, 40, 50 years if your professional career as far as an athlete, you're done at 25? There's so much life after that. So you have to make sure that you are thinking about those things, that you are Dwayne Wade recently did an interview, and they asked him what the most important piece of advice he could give to the new rookies. What would it be? And he said, find a financial guy, find a financial planner, someone that you trust, someone that is going to explain what is happening, where your money is going, why, the repercussions of this type of situation, what happens if you invest your money here, what happens if you just leave it alone. You need that because we've heard so many stories of athletes going broke. And the amount of money that we're talking about is, in theory, crazy. But we know that it can't last a lifetime, and, well, actually, it can if you get proper financial guidance, you know, and if you're smart with how you move around. So, here we go. There are 1,600 spots in the NFL, 1,696 to be specific, 450 spots in the NBA, 1,280 spots in the MLB. Those aren't huge numbers at all. I think that in total, there have only been less than 6,000 NBA players. That's a small number. I mean, some people might have more than that in their graduating high school class or in their college class. So think about that for a second. That opportunity is so small, so distant. And if you happen to make it, you have to make the most of it, right? I know it sounds cliche, but making it is really a huge accomplishment. So we don't want to overshadow that. I'm really excited and happy for the new ventures of these guys. I love seeing the Rookie Summer League is right around the corner. So we get to see what they're made of. You know, we have quite a number of guys that are coming in this draft from overseas. I think they said there's about 5 or 6 maybe in the top 20. We also have the overtime elite. So there's a lot of different elements that we'll see shown off in Vegas in a couple of weeks that we can check out. But most importantly, the goal is simple. Become a star, win some stuff, take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you, and have a really, really good time. So best of luck to all of the athletes that are drafted tonight. I hope your team was successful, whoever your team is, and it's still your team, because if you're a fan, it's like a community. We share together, much like we are a community here at KBLA, and you are my VIPs. I appreciate you checking us out on RSVP. When we come forward, we're going to talk a couple of more trending topics. We're going to wind it down for the night and give you a couple of hints on what you can expect coming forward for RSVP. Thank you for checking me out. It's Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Tina Turner's hometown to build a statue in her honor. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News. On May 24, news spread of the death of the queen of rock and roll, Tina Turner, who died at 83 years old. Turner's representatives say she died of natural causes after long illness. The mayor of Tina's hometown has since revealed plans to build a statue in honor of Turner. Bill Rawls Jr., mayor of Brownsville, reveals his hope to have the sculpture placed in Heritage Park near the high school Tina attended as a teenager. She was born in the same town in 1939. Rest in peace to the queen of rock and roll, Tina Turner. I'm Maisha Cairo for KBLA Talk 1580, and that's your K-Black Minute News.
Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Sometimes we try to fit it all in. Sometimes we don't know what's in store. Sometimes we find what we're looking for. Sometimes we're rolling easy and free. Sometimes 1 and 1 makes 3. So much to love along this ride. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and Affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
If your Medi-Cal is ending, Cover California is here to help. Cover California is a service from the state that helps you get affordable health insurance. In many cases, at no cost to you, just like with Medi-Cal. We have quality health plans, and we'll help you every step of the way to get the one that works for you and your family. So, if you're no longer eligible for Medi-Cal, check out Cover California. We'll keep you covered. Learn more at coveredca.com.
This is Tyrone celebrating the 75th anniversary of Black Radio, and June is Black Music Month. Brought to you by Procter & Gamble.
Don't you know that I heard it through the grapevine? God must know the one to be mine. Don't you know that I heard it through the grapevine?
From their first big hit in 1967, I Heard It Through the Grapevine, I always did love me some Gladys Knight and the Pips. They were a superior singing group.
He's leaving, leaving on that midnight train to Georgia. Leaving on the midnight train.
To the Grammy-winning single, Love Overboard.
Love overboard, love overboard. My love's in need of help. Love overboard, love overboard. I sure can't help myself. Love overboard.
Let's widen all views to the resilience, joy, beauty, and vastness of the Black experience. Learn more at pg.com/widen the screen.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands for Unity and Healing. African Focus Incorporated is a nonprofit organization based in California that focuses on the growth and well-being of Africans all around the world. Their mission is to promote the well-being of people of African descent through knowledge and appreciation of one another by building a bridge of love and understanding. African Focus Incorporated strives for cultural, educational, and economic growth. They're the organization behind the African Family Induction Ceremony, African Goodwill Awards, African Focus Trailblazer Tours, African Dance Competition, and Showcase Los Angeles, Family Day, Good News Windows Microfinance Project, and more. To volunteer, travel with African Focus, or to attend one of their community building events, please call 310-676-7730. That's 310-676-7300. Or visit AfricanFocus.org. This is a diaspora-wide community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 noon for conversations that matter. Every day I talk to influencers, content creators, trendsetters, change makers, and world beaters who are doing their part to make America a nation that will one day be as good as its promise. So be sure to join me, Tavis Smiley, weekdays 9 a.m. to 12 noon as we curate smart conversations for smart people just like you.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe. Thank you for checking in. I forgot. I teased a story earlier and I forgot to go back to it. I shared with you that I think that there is one parent that we saw today in the draft that might have a little T. Morant steez to him. I don't know if you saw Scoot Henderson's dad. He was blinged out. Yo, his chain and medallion was bigger than anything Scoot had on. He kind of looked like Mike Epps. He was like ready. I know Scoot has come from the G League. Like I said before, he just came off of a film. But listen, I don't know what we have to expect coming forward, but Portland is kind of a quiet city. As I mentioned earlier, I used to work for Nike, so I spent a great deal of time in Portland. It's a beautiful city. It's changed a great deal, and they did have an area that I kind of consider the black section. Like most cities, it was off of Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. But it's changed now. It's a little different. So maybe, their courtside experience isn't quite, in Atlanta, a Miami, an LA, a Houston. So we'll see. And I could just be judging a book by its cover. I'm not really judging him. I just have questions. Just a few. Because that medallion, that ice, listen, we might have to do a water test on it, to see if that's alkaline, to quote Beyonce. Anyway, back to my list. There are only a limited number of superstars in any given league at any time. I say that there are no more than 4 or 5 superstars in each league at the same time. It just doesn't happen because there are certain things that qualify what makes a superstar. So really quickly, I'm going to give you a breakdown on what I consider to be the qualifications, not just one. We're going to give you 4, but the qualifications for superstar status. So first up, obvious, the money. Duh, like Cuba Gooding Jr. said and Jerry Maguire, show me the money. If the coins aren't there, the hype won't be either. Teams are investing huge dollars behind what they consider franchise players. It's basic math plus common sense. If I pay more for it, it holds more value. So an example of this would be Austin Reeves. Obviously not a superstar, but a budding superstar. And next season, his money is more going to reflect what he contributed to the Lakers this season from somebody. I hope it's still the Lakers, but that's an example of what I mean about the money. If your dollars aren't there, if you don't have a brag-worthy contract to a degree, can we really consider you a superstar? Because why aren't they paying you? There's all types of reasons for that. I'm just saying. But superficially, why aren't they paying you? So the next one, another duh moment, rings. Wins matter. It's why we play the game. Leagues draft on potential, but there's an expiration date for that. And it's short. So that's not to say that there aren't superstars without rings. Obviously there are, but it definitely puts you on a different rung when we're making the comparisons. It's a reason why Kenny Smith and Shaq go in on Charles Barkley every season on Inside the NBA. Because Chuck, as great as he is, and please don't sleep, Charles Barkley was an amazing basketball player. No matter what you think about him personally and some of his opinions, Chuck put it down. The round mound was incredible, and his game doesn't get enough respect in this era because most people at this point only know him as an analyst. They don't remember his active playing career. Again, that's aside. Maybe something we'll talk about later. So the next area that I think is important to qualifying an athlete as a superstar is social currency. This is your cultural and global appeal. Is an athlete hot in the streets? Of course, there are different streets, so there's different ways to quantify that. But when you look at social currency, it's about a player's status, his credibility, the universal adoration. This is an area that can only enhance his legacy, right? So it's important. And lastly, their significant other. Let me keep it 100. It's hard for an athlete to be considered a superstar with a subpar boo on his side. He can have his pick of the best and the brightest. It seems logical that he can find a heart of gold in the body of a goddess with a face to match. I'm just saying, LeBron and Savannah, part of the reason why they are a power couple is because Savannah is bad. She is setting the pace, and we've seen her evolve. We've seen her grow into her womanhood and so forth. And who doesn't love to see an amazing couple side by side? The man is shining, the woman is shining. They complement each other. They're looking all moisturized. Hair is fresh, outfit is clean. We love that. So those are my 4 criteria of what makes a superstar. You might have some different ones. You know, you can always jump in and share that with me. I appreciate that. We are coming down to the end of the night, you guys. Can you believe it? Day 3. I want to thank you once again for rocking with me. Thank to everyone. Thank you. Let me slow down. To everyone in the chat, because you guys have been keeping up the conversation. It is only my first week here, but I am not alone. Of course, Anthony has been with me. I've had great guests on this week. Giandra LaBeouf, who was a TV and film critic. Trent, the artist, the Keep It Real friend. We'll be seeing more of both of them in the coming weeks. Tiffany Mills tonight, showrunner extraordinaire. Make sure you're checking out her new special on BET Plus with Gabrielle Union, The Journey to 50. They go to Africa. It's all the feels and things. We've had a good time tonight, I think. I feel like I enjoyed it. I feel more comfortable. I'm loose. I'm warming up. You guys are warming up to me. I love it. Jerry Anderson said that, he doesn't agree with my last point, but he said that all of my other points, he agrees with me on superstars. Jerry, we'll talk about next time why you don't agree with me. Hit me, Andy.
I wanted to go back to AI being a cultural icon. I think about Dennis Rodman, right? Prior to AI.
Right.
The reason why I bring Dennis Rodman up is because when AI came out, tatted everywhere, braids, that definitely shifted the culture. Now everybody and their mama was getting braids, and now you see everybody in the league now tatted up, whole body. I mean, even the legs is tatted too. You know what I'm saying? But that didn't happen when Dennis Rodman was in the league.
Nope.
I just think a lot of people identify with AI, you know, also coming from the hood. I think a lot of people identified with that. So AI, talk about a cultural icon, 100%.
I mean, here's the thing. Like Dennis, he was an individual. And the interesting thing about him is though Dennis was considered odd, strange, he still had mad respect. People just kind of overlooked his eccentric nature and just let him cook, you know? With AI, that impacted, for whatever reason, another generation. They felt, I mean, again, it's coming out of the 90s. We're coming out of the Straight Outta Compton era, the changes, hip-hop taking over as the #1 music source in the world, you know, over pop. A lot of things were happening that set the stage for AI to be viewed almost as a threat, you know? But the thing that is important that AI did was what? He backed it up. He backed it up on the court. He gave 110%. You can't say that AI ever hit the court. Show me a game, pick a game where you didn't feel like he was giving his all, where you felt like he was just walking through. We see that from some players. AI is someone that I never feel like we get that kind of effort from. You know who else I feel has that in common with him, who just has that dog that's always going to go out there and give it to you? Different type of player. Another LA guy, Russell Westbrook. So shout out to him. I know people may have feelings about Russ, but I love Russ. I respect Russ. I met Russ when he was at Losing Your High and I was at Nike. That's a story we'll talk about in another time. But I want to thank you guys for rocking with us tonight, checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe. I hope you enjoyed it.
Real quick. What's popping tomorrow?
What is popping tomorrow? Tomorrow is the best of. And when we come forward, the next voice that you hear, it's not actually a voice. You're going to hear the best of KBLA. So make sure you are staying locked in. Make sure you are back in the AM for Dominique DePrima. I believe she's coming on, or is it her best of?
Nope, she'll be on. She's still live in Africa.
She's still live in Africa, so you don't want to miss that. Thank you for rocking with us tonight. KBLA Talk 1580, the best of KBLA. When we come forward, have a good night.
And every Friday.
Every Friday is the best of. Let me make that clear. So tomorrow you will hear me, but I won't be here. But still check me out. Thanks.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Good morning. We welcome you to a Thursday, June 22nd. I'm Mike Moore. Now, here's the latest from the Black Information Network. House Republicans have failed to overturn President Biden's veto of the Congressional Review Act. The Congressional Review Act would have ended Biden's student loan forgiveness plan, and it passed in the House and Senate earlier this year before Biden vetoed the resolution. Biden's student debt relief plan now faces the Supreme Court. New test scores released by the National Center for Education Statistics show math scores haven't been this low since 1990, and